All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, just a couple of the normal reminders. We will have time for questions at the end of the presentation. You can type those in by clicking the Q&A or chat section in the lower portion of your control panel. Feel free to chat between yourselves as well throughout. We'll be posting a recording of the webinar on our blog. The link for that will be shown at the end. And if you would like a PDF copy of the presentation, there will be a link to download that on that same post as the recording. If your question does not get answered today, or if you think of any others, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. All right, what's on the agenda for today? Eating well on the go. So whether it's commuting, traveling for work, traveling for vacation, evening, weekend activities, or simply work in life itself, we're on the go a lot, right? So when it comes to eating, it can be a challenge to not choose the quote unquote easy thing, right? The concession stand, the vending machine, the unhealthy restaurant or fast food choices. So today we're going to talk about some ways to help create a plan for those situations and some healthy options to make the most out of your on-the-go life. We'll see what we can do. So I'm going to start with work-related on the go. Just a note, I know a lot of you may travel for work for longer stretches at a time. I'm going to hit that more when we talk about travel with vacation and such. So just know that's coming. I'm going to focus first on kind of the typical day-to-day things at work and home. So I'm going to talk about commuting first. Some of you may work from home, which is fantastic. No commute necessary, right? But some of you have long commutes that create situations where you may be late for your evening meal after work, or maybe you don't have time to grab breakfast. So this creates that issue of possibly overeating when you do get the opportunity to finally grab something, right? Or stopping to grab a not so good option somewhere on the way. So what are some things that you can do? Really, the easiest option is to have food already with you. Packing healthy snacks for commutes is really easy overall and can save you not only excess calories, unhealthy ingredients, but can save you money as well, right? So there's a couple different ways to do this. Some of our coaches actually have a cooler in their car for trips that they restock regularly. Now, some of you that work maybe in the transportation or trucking industry might have a nice fridge already in your vehicle as well. So you're already a step ahead. Otherwise, a simple bag or box with non-perishable items that fits between the seats or wherever it makes sense is a great way as well. So either cooler, bag, whatever works, because really the goal is to have some options at your fingertips, literally, for a quick snack in your vehicle before you head out to work, to home, or whatever that destination is. So there are a ton of good food options out there for this specific reason. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to throw in what you eat in the chat. Someone already did, while I go through some of the examples as well. So some options that don't require refrigeration are going to be things like nuts and seeds. Mix those up with some dried fruit and you've got some homemade trail mix. There's also lots of store-bought trail mix. Just watch the excess ingredients. Again, take a look, make sure it's just those foods in there. Protein bars, homemade bars would be fantastic, but not necessary, right? I might actually have a recipe coming up for a DIY one though. But if you do store-bought protein bars, really just pay attention to the extra ingredients and sugar specifically, because a lot of those tend to be a little high on some of those unnecessary things. So take a look, do some research on some good options. Shoot us an email if you're looking for some things to look for as well. Other options are things like jerky, roasted chickpeas, those types of things as well. Some good cooler or fridge options are going to be kind of the ones we think of with healthy foods, right? Fruits and veggies. And the nice thing is apples, bananas, oranges, grapes don't specifically need to be refrigerated either. So that's a plus in itself. Veggie sticks like carrots, celery are particularly easy to grab and keep in your car. And then you've got things like, cucumber slices, bell pepper sticks, If you like dip with those, try putting hummus or ranch in the bottom of like a bell jar or a cup with a lid, or something similar to this picture on the slide. And then you throw in those slices and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about dipping, right? It's already there. Apples and nut butter are another good option for that. Other good cooler or fridge options include things like cheese, if you're do okay with cheese. Hard-boiled eggs are a really good one as well. So again, and people are throwing in a ton of good options. RX bars, I see specifically. That's one of those better, I would say, options for the protein bars. So that's a great one. Lots of good popcorn. That's a good one, especially the organic or the air pop popcorn is fantastic. Lots and lots of good options. Wow, you guys are keep throwing them in there. Keep going. Most of these are going to be low sugar. So the question is what low sugar options you recommend. Natural sugars are going to be in fruits, right? So I don't have an issue with those. If you want to stay away from that, go for those higher protein options like the jerky, like the nuts and seeds, like the protein bars typically. So if you're looking for those options, those are something there. Let's see. And then of course, don't forget the water, right? Always, always have a reusable water bottle with you in your vehicle. Sometimes when we think we're hungry, a lot of times we're just thirsty. So not only that, but water in general is just a great way to keep us feeling good, keep our energy levels up. We don't drink enough water typically, but that's just a great thing to have in your vehicle just to sip on. It can also prevent you from stopping and grabbing a sugary drink on your trip if you've already got that water, right? All right, lots of great options for our commuters, or again, road trips. We'll kind of go over that with the road trips. All right, next area for work is lunches. So this isn't necessarily what people think of as on the go, but when you think about it, a lot of times we're just grabbing a quick lunch, right? This is an area that can cause a lot of unhealthy decisions for us. So the most valuable tip, in my opinion, that you can do to help stay healthier for lunch is really meal planning, meal prepping. It's so easy to get caught up in our days and then make that decision just to grab something quick, right? Or not eat at all sometimes, unfortunately, which I know a lot of us do as well. So I want to talk a little bit about how to prep some healthier meals ahead just to save some time in that busy week. So first, just start small. You don't need to prep every meal, and specifically we're talking about lunches, right? You don't have to prep your whole week. Start with one lunch. Continue to build up slowly as you feel more comfortable, get more efficient. And speaking of that efficiency, get organized. If you've never meal prepped or meal planned before, it does take some pre-planning, right? That's the purpose of it, is to pre-plan your week. But once you get your ducks in a row, it becomes much, much easier, especially if you like similar things. Again, if you're just doing lunches, you can eat fairly similar things if you're okay with that. So think about your prep time. You need to figure out when's going to be the best day to maybe get that prep. If you're actually going to make stuff ahead of time, actually cook it, think about what makes sense. Most of us have maybe a little more time on the weekends, but not necessarily. So figure out what day is best for you. Make that meal plan, make that grocery list of ingredients. Keep your favorite recipes all in the same place so you're not searching for them all over, because that can be a barrier. Something as simple as not remembering what the ingredients are or not finding it can be a barrier for us. So make it as simple as you can. And then also think about using similar ingredients for multiple meals, right? If you're going to brown some hamburger or turkey, might as well do more at the same time to have 2 meals, right? Those little efficiencies can make a big difference in your ability to prep multiple meals for the week. And then having ingredients that you use a lot stocked up too, the ones that are pretty stable on the shelf. So grains, oils, spices, having things you most likely will use each week already on hand. Again, it's just going to lower some of those barriers that we have. Next thing is having good containers, whether it be, for the commute that you're just throwing it in a cooler, whether it be for a lunch, whatever it is, having things like pre-portioned containers that are good quality, that keep that air out, keep that food fresher, is a huge game changer. Something I usually recommend glass, then you can just throw it right in the microwave at work. or wherever you're at in your truck. Again, if you're transportation, you can just throw that right in your microwave and you're good to go. Again, this is the stuff that's going to save you time in the long run. So think about it. And then prepping smart. So if you have time and you like to chop up fruits and veggies to get them ready to go, fantastic. Sometimes it's not in the carts, right? I buy pre-cut fruits and veggies a lot. Yes, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive, but if it makes a difference between me actually getting the meal prepping done and eating those fruits and vegetables, sometimes it's worth it, right? It depends, but sometimes it is. Sometimes cutting corners like that can be an okay thing in those situations. And then don't forget about that freezer either. So meal prepping can not only be great for the current week, but if you have time, again, especially if you're just focusing on lunches for your on-the-go stuff, throw it in the freezer for a couple weeks or even a month, depending on what meal it is. It can last for that long. It's going to, again, create those efficiencies. If I can just grab something out of the freezer, throw it in my lunch bag and have it ready, have it de-thawed and ready to throw in the microwave for lunch, hey, I'm winning, right? So doing a quick search of online meal prep freezer meals will give you approximately 1 million different recipes to try. So depending on what types of foods you like, I guarantee you will find something that works when you're planning ahead. And then don't forget about leftovers either. If you're having supper, throw some in a container so it's ready to grab the next morning. We're working smarter, not harder, right? Use what's around you. All right. And just because recipes are fun, why not? Let's just share a couple recipes here, right? So first, we have some yummy cinnamon roll protein bars. So I'm not going to go through, each step here, but if you're able to screenshot, I'm going to give you a few seconds. Otherwise, you can download the slides on our blog when the webinar recording and slides are posted within the next 24 hours or so. So these great for breakfast on the go, great for a snack, great for part of your lunch, great for kids, whatever works for you. So leave it up there for another second if someone wants to screenshot it. Otherwise, again, it'll be available on our blog, and our blog website will be shown at the end here. All right, next up, egg muffins. We post these types of recipes a lot if you watch the webinar, just because they're very easy and they're also extremely easy to individualize. So you can throw in whatever veggies you like and go from there. Again, great for breakfast, great for lunch, great for a snack. What I like about these specifically is they're already broken down into really good portion sizes. You have a muffin. That's a great size for a snack, for something to go along with your lunch, whatever it may be. All right, one more second to screenshot. All right, mason jar salads. These ones were really popular for a while. I'm sure some of you still use them, but I feel like they kind of fell off a little bit, but they're so easy. There's nothing easier than throwing in ingredients and then shaking them up and eating them all in the same container, right? This one I like specifically because it has a homemade ranch dressing, which is very good because it doesn't have all the extra stuff in it. So, but again, you can individualize these to the proteins you like, to the fruits, to the veggies, to the dressing you like. So it's just really about finding what you enjoy as far as flavors, throwing them in there. And again, throw it in the fridge and then you've got it ready for the next day. All right, what do we think? These sound good? If not, there are approximately 999,997 more online for you to try. So I challenge you to go find some more recipes that you like. All right, how about travel and vacations? So some things to think about when we're on the road, when we're in the air, just away from home for multiple days, right? Whether it be for work, whether it be for play, whatever reason that you have. So first is reiterating the tips that we already talked about. Bringing healthy snacks and foods is a massive game changer when it comes to travel. It takes away the unknown of what options there will be at, convenience stores, airports, things like that. Having a reusable water bottle again, so you always have that drink handy. Make sure it's empty if you're flying, so then you can fill it up at the fountain after you get past security. If you want some flavor, I think someone asked about they don't like water. There's flavor packets out there. Fruit is a great way to flavor your water. So, you kind of try different things. I know there's pre-made flavored waters too. So again, just watching the ingredients, watching those things. I'm sure someone's probably going to throw up some of the waters that they like. So please feel free to share some of your water tips if you're not a huge fan of just plain water. So, okay, side note, if you're staying in a hotel, see if you can find one with like a kitchenette or at least like a mini fridge and microwave, something that can help you possibly prepare your own meals. A lot of people stay in Airbnbs now, so you should have all the supplies you need in a place like that. But if you can plan on making some of your own meals while you travel, it can make things healthier, right? And again, cost saver. Also, not having the stress of finding a place to eat, waiting for a table, things like that can make travel better as well. Now, if you can't pack everything or if you don't have room to have food, what you can do is you can find a local grocery store or somewhere similar market to grab some ingredients and healthy snacks when you get to your destination. We're going to touch on eating out here in a bit because I obviously know we're not just going to sit and eat your meals in a hotel all the time. That takes away some of the experience of traveling, right? But if you can have a few low-key, healthier meals in the place you're staying, again, we're looking for better. We're looking for progress. It can make a difference in the quality of your food, which can make a difference in the things like your energy levels for doing all of those fun things or work things that you need energy for too, right? Those things that you'll be doing the rest of the time, you'll feel better to do those things if we know that we're eating a little bit better. So these tips and the ones on the previous slides apply to after work, after school, weekend activities as well, right? So having that cooler ready to go with snacks for an evening activity or game, so you don't have to make the choice between a cold hot dog and a candy bar at the concession stand, right? And I know some places don't let you bring food into the area, but if you can grab a quick bite before you go in, sneak out during a break, have it ready for after. Again, it's not going to be perfect all the time, but looking ahead, doing the best that you can to have something prepared, that's going to be our progress, right? I know a lot of parents, specifically if we're talking kids tournaments and activities and stuff, they make plans with other parents for lunches for those tournaments so they can all share. I know we did that growing up. So just try to choose the healthiest options that you contribute, and then you'll know that there's going to be some good options there as well. All right. Okay. Let's talk. Oh, I missed one. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. Social gatherings. So potlucks, barbecues, holidays. For a lot of people, being on the go involves situations like this, right? So a couple ways to make these healthier occasions. So first of all, same thing as I just talked about with planning lunches for activities, things like that. If you're contributing to the food at a potluck, at a gathering, make your contribution a little healthier, right? That way you know that there's at least one better maybe option available for you. If you're worried about not having good choices as well, a lot of people, what they do is they save up their calories and they don't eat much for the rest of the day. Now, this works for some people, but it tends to backfire in a lot of situations. So I would suggest maintaining a healthy day of eating if you can before you go, because this will actually minimize the overeating because you're not starving when you get there, right? Have some healthy options and then just pay attention to what you're eating. Along with that is avoiding the all or nothing mindset at get-togethers. At the end of the day, this is one meal, right? It's not going to make or break your life. So don't go into it thinking you have to eat everything because it's there, but also don't be so restrictive that you miss out on enjoying some of the tasty foods you might not have all the time, right? Moderation is key if you're able to do that. And so along with that, what you can do is you can ask yourself, do I really want this? Or am I satisfied? Am I good to go? This is actually what eating mindfully is, if you've ever heard that term of mindful eating. We want to just pay attention to what we're doing, to how and why we're eating, and then also being in the moment when we're eating to help enjoy the foods that we do choose rather than just mindlessly eating away. So avoid grabbing that last dessert just because it's there, right? If you've left room for it and it's something that you have wanted or looks amazing, go for it and enjoy it, right? But just don't eat it just to eat it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. This tip resonates with me a lot because I fall into that trap. So, it probably does for a lot of you as well. Again, being mindful about why we're eating. If we're just doing it to do it and we're not paying attention to if we're actually hungry, that can go a long way. Not only eating on the go, any type of eating situation, emotional eating, those types of things as well. So just paying attention. All right, now let's go on to the next slide here. So again, I know you will have times that we will be eating out. Eating out is a great experience. It's so fun. It helps to try different recipes. It helps to try different cuisines, different cultures. It's a great way to experience different foods. So whether it's on vacation, eating with clients for work, right, or at that ball game, some things just to keep in mind to make the better choices, if you will. So if you can, look ahead to see where you're going to be staying and what types of places are around there. So look and see what options there are. Is it going to be all fast food? Are there some sit-down restaurants? See what there is. See if you can find one that has a good combo of, something for you. And if you're with your family, find something that's going to work for everyone. But then what you can do, look online at the menu. This way you can see what options they have, and then you can make a plan specifically for yourself on either what place you want to visit or what you will order, right? This helps you find those healthier options ahead of time because a lot of times we feel rushed when we're going to order, right? And it can also help you from being tempted with maybe some of those not so healthy options. If you already have a plan in place, even visualizing yourself order something, I know it sounds silly, but it actually works. If you can visualize yourself doing it, you're more likely to follow through with it. And don't forget that even, what we consider fast food places have healthier options as well. So look at the choices, see what is the better, quote unquote, better option. So some things to look for as far as types of foods. Now, this is going to be more for probably your sit-down restaurants, but it does make sense for some of those fast foods as well. So we want to look for things like baked, grilled, steamed, as opposed to things like fried, and breaded. So, look at those terms when we're talking about the way it's prepared. The baked, grilled, steams are typically going to be better. Asking for dressing and sauce on the side is a good way to control the amount of those things that tend to be a little on the unhealthy side, depending on what it is, right? But, that's a good way to control the amount of some of those sauces that we're getting. So on that same thing, on the same side, don't be afraid to customize your order, right? Asking for veggies instead of fries is a really easy way to make your meal actually quite a bit healthier when we're talking about the grand scheme of things. So, again, look at those options, ask if anything, they'll just say, no, you can't do that. That's fine. It's still worth asking, right? If you're at a concession stand, that's hard, right? There's so many different options with that, but really, one big easy tip is try to stay away from the candy. So that's our number one option at the concession stand, right? So do what you can. Another big thing when eating out is going to be portions, right? Especially with those sit-down restaurants. The portions are typically a little bit outrageous. You can share with someone else if they allow it. You can order off the kids' menu, again, if they allow it. Otherwise, you can ask for a to-go box right away and then pack up part of it so you're not tempted to eat the entire portion, right? Because when we're sitting there, again, the opposite of mindful eating, a lot of times we're chatting and we're just, kind of eat more and more. So pay attention. And sometimes if you pack that up, then it's not there, right? Out of sight, out of mind, hopefully. Some drinks, choosing water again, or something like unsweetened tea or coffee as your drink is, again, can be a really big game changer when you're talking about, the amount of sugar in a soda or pop, whatever term you use. Alcohol as well. Those things pack a massive punch when we're talking about calories and sugar a lot of times. So again, simple change that can make that meal a little better. If you are choosing to drink alcohol, just take a look at the sugar content in some of those drinks ahead of time to see which ones are better. There's a huge difference in that content. Same with, soda as well. So choose a better option, if you will. Side note, again, just to reiterate what I said about the gatherings and kind of the all or nothing mentality, don't feel like you can't get unhealthy options when you're on the go sometimes, right? If you love a specific meal at a vacation restaurant that you always go to, or if you travel for work to a specific place and you always get that meal, do it, right? Don't be afraid to not, be perfect all the time. It's not an all or nothing thing. It's the consistency of our habits that make the biggest difference in our overall health, right? So if you're consistently mindful, if you're consistently good, having that one meal on one occasion is not going to ruin your health. Okay, so just another way to reiterate that. Again, lots of things that we can do on a consistent basis without being perfect necessarily. Progress over perfection. All right, let's wrap it up here. The best tool that you have when it comes to eating on the go is planning ahead as much as you possibly can. Look at your options, plan your strategy for making those meals just a little bit better when you can. If you're not able to plan ahead, just look at those better choices available to you. Do the best that you can. We know it's not going to be perfect, but again, it can be better. Progress over perfection. And on that same note, again, it's not an all or nothing thing. Enjoy the things you want to enjoy. Just be mindful to make those better decisions when you can for your overall health. All right, we'll have time for questions here in just a minute, but I do want to chat about the upcoming webinars. So next month, July already, we're going to talk about functional fitness. So talking about day-to-day life, how we want to stay healthy to be able to live independently, those types of things. So we'll talk about that. And then in August, we're going to talk about sleep. I love that topic. So lots of good tips on sleep coming your way in a couple months. And then if you get points for answering questions from watching the webinar, which will be indicated on your My Health Check 360 account. These are going to be the questions for you. Again, I'll give it a second to screenshot if you want. Otherwise, on the blog, which will be shown on the next slide, you can download those slides. So these will be on there as well. So very hard questions, I know. I try to make them really hard for everybody. Hopefully not. All right. And then, of course, here's our contact information. We are on social media. The blog here is the website for the blog. This recording will be up in the next day or so. You can watch past recordings. We have stuff on all different topics. If you haven't joined us before, you can register for upcoming webinars as well. We have lots of good articles on the blog as well. And if you do want to chat with a health coach, you can give us a call to set up a time to talk, or you can shoot us an email with any questions, health-related questions, things like that. We're more than happy to chat with anything you want to talk about.